Hello, welcome to another D.L. Howard paint. I'm going to do another painting today that I actually stole from a friend for photographic reference. And I'm going to go ahead and do, it looks like a nice desert sunset. And in the area that we live in, it's desert climate. So we have a river and the sunsets can be quite beautiful and a wealth of ideas for me to paint. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to just go ahead and do some basic, I say basic, but I'm going to say my traditional skyline, which is yellow, orange, blue, and some purple to merge those. But in this one, instead of blending a lot, I'm going to do some block colors and just kind of play with it a little bit. And I'm going to start out with the yellow, just making sure my brush does not have any remnant color. Okay, it looks pretty good. And I'm going to do a light yellow first. And I'm just going to kind of wash it in there. And I'm going to let a little bit kind of trail in here. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit darker yellow and kind of underneath. Just like that. And I want to make it a little bit more pronounced here. And I don't have to be perfect. Let it drag in here. Then I'm going to do some orange, and I'm going to do 2 oranges actually. I'm going to come in here, and I just want a little bit. And I want it in strategic places. There we go. A little bit more in here. It's harder to go in and put this in later, so it's a little easier to just kind of stagger where it's going to go, and then I can fill in around it. And I'm just going to kind of take some of that color and just smush it out a little bit. I'm spreading the wealth. Just like that. And anything that's left on my brush, I'm just going to kind of bring it right down in here. A little bit more solid on the, I'm actually just going to dab a little bit of color here, or actually a little water. And I can always add more later. And the beauty of watercolors is I can also kind of take some out if I want to. If I want to. And I'm just going to get that brush a little bit wet. Kind of let that orange play in there a little bit more. Decided to change my setup just a little bit, see if you can see it better. So I hope this works out. And I'm just going to kind of keep doing that. I want a little bit more pronounced orange in here. And I'm going to do a little bit different, that same different orange in the same spots here. Just kind of swiggle those back and forth. And then with my brush kind of straight, I'm smearing these like that. That gives me my water effect right there. It literally has, it's no effort. So I encourage you to play with the paints and see what they do, which is how I kind of learned along the way of, wow, this is what that does? Okay, I'm going to try and do that again. And it's been a fun learning process along the way. And you can see how easy it is to do something like this. Okay, so I'm going to change my brush. Make sure I rinse it out really good. And as I talked about in my other videos, I just make sure that the hairs are lying in the right direction. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do one of these round brushes. They're actually called, I think, a filament, no, oval. Anyway, so I'm going to do some light blue, and I'm going to pull in from the side here with a somewhat wet brush. Now you see where I get that overlay of color? I don't like that. That doesn't look right. So I'm going to brush it out really quick, just like that. I'll leave my blue in there, which is fine. And I just want to get most of this just kind of watery and a base kind of color, just and just bringing it in. I don't want it to blend in too much with the orange. I just want light blue. They can meet, but I don't want them to dance together too much more than that. I like to keep a sponge close by. I can use it to either wipe. I can use it to wipe my brush. Sometimes taking my brush, I get a little bit more fine control and I can pull colors out, but I need something to wipe it off in between. So that's something I can do. There we go. And take a dry edge of that brush and just kind of streak it back, just like that. A little bit too much right here. There. And just try and let them do their thing. Just be subtle on this one. I'm going to do a darker color on the other side. And this is going to be like a little richer blue, I think. Ooh, it's almost a green. I'll roll with it. I'm coming in with a different blue now. Just like that. And I don't want to get too crazy, so I'm just going to kind of start settling down here. Using that same technique of just blotting my brush and just kind of gliding where I want it to go. See that? The color that comes back, I can use that and play with it, which is nice. So I'm getting a lot of color over here that I don't want, but I'm going to work with that and I'm going to go like this. So I turn my brush to the side. I'm not going to worry too much about that area, but I'm just going to kind of bring in the streaks here. And as I go in, I'm just going to kind of stretch it out a little bit more. My brush is drying, which is great. I'm working with that. I want that. So I'm going to blot that dry a little bit. Here is a little area. Got a little too close. So I'm going to take a little dry or a little wet edge of that sponge and I'm going to push the color back. Now, if you can see what happened there, it kind of mottled over it a little bit. I like it. So I'm going to leave it. Kind of looks like water. So what I can do easily to fix this up in here, I'm going to dry my brush off or rinse it out pretty good. I'm going to dry it off and just kind of bring these in. If you can't beat them, join them. So if my water wants to streak into, which it will, I'm going to do a little bit darker blue here and just do it, bring them in. So this is kind of mimicking nature's, dark areas of the water that ripple in the light, moonlight, sunlight. And I'm just using the edge of this brush to drag the paint through. And it's actually quite a beautiful effect. And I will bring in a little bit of purple because this is what's going to be in that sky. And I'm just going to do it right in here. And you're probably like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? No, trust me. Now, I'm going to get a wet, flat brush and wet it down just like that. Carefully. Go all the way through. Just like that. We're just softening. Okay. I'm not going to do too much more. It doesn't look exactly like that, and I don't care. I want it to look like this. So now we got some work to do in the sky, which isn't going to take long. I'm actually going to take my flat brush again, and I'm going to do some of that light blue that we had. And I'm going to work really fast and just very, very subtle work from over here. And if I need more water, I can spray with my little water bottle. I just want just like that. And anything that's like light area, that can be where clouds are. I don't care. I just have an incessant need to get rid of all the white in my painting, which is so against everything watercolor, I think. I do my own thing. I make my own rules. Okay, so I work with what I'm familiar with and what I can control. As an artist, that's what we do. So with that in place, I need to do a little bit darker blue, and then I need to go in with some violet. And then there's actually a little bit of a dark reddish purpley color that I'm going to put in. Then I'm going to go in with a tree line in the end. And that's literally all there is to this. So I'm going to go back to my round brush. And I'm going to do circular motions with this one, which is not really what you do with this brush, but I want to. So we're going to do, I'm trying to decide on a color. I think we're going to stick in this realm here. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to wet it down, which I don't usually do. And I'm just going to kind of go in and do circles. I don't care about the color. I don't care about the blending. I'm just going to keep doing swishy, swishy circles. And just like that. Some places will be darker. And I'm going to go right into these areas of the orange. Try not to bridge the gap too much, but everywhere that there is a white, I'm going to go in. Oh, I lost my frame. There we go. Swirly, swirly. Don't care about the perfect mixture of color. Anywhere there's white, I want it to go away. And whatever's left behind can stay, but I don't want white. Just like that. If my brush starts to get a little bit too dry, I'm going to tap it in the water. But you see how I'm like just letting whatever color comes out, that's fine. Oh, whoops. I guess I'm going to fix that now. And some of these areas here, I'm just going to kind of go in with a straight, just marking my area. Anywhere in here where there's white, I'm going to go in with the blue. And in the lower areas, I don't have to swirl it anymore. Just marking my area because I'm going to go in with a different color. And then I can blend these. But I just want to make sure that wherever there is these rolling clouds, I want different colors. And the best way to do that is just to keep swirling it in like this and let all of those blotches work together to create the effect you're looking for. So everywhere those little orange and the blue have bridged, I'm going to blend those together with some purple that's almost like in this area. Oh. I guess I was just fixing some stuff over here. We'll leave it. Okay, so now that I've got that, I'm going to still use this, but I'm going to change a little bit darker blue. And I'm going to go in some of these areas where it's already a little bit darker. And I'm just going to just gently tap it. And my cheat is anywhere that I left white, I'll hit that spot. All the work without having to do too much of the effort. This brush will help me because I can swirl it, I can soften it, I can do lots of things with it. So in the area where there's white left, I'm applying this darker, less diluted color. It's the same color, it's just less diluted with water. And just kind of tap in here. Anywhere there's white, and remember, don't panic. You want to try and keep it off the orange, but don't panic if it does get in there because we're going to go in there with a darker purple and kind of blend those two together. So, like that. Just let these dance. In these areas where there's a little bit more shade or darker shade, just kind of spin the brush in the brush. Twirl it around. There we go. If nature can be decorative, so can I. All right, so now let's go ahead and add our purple and go from there. Rinsing out my brush. And we're going to do this one. It's another round brush here. This time we're going to grab that same purple that we had. Oh, I need a little more water than that. All right, that looks good. And I'm going to just kind of get it a little bit wet. And I'm just going to kind of, now I'm going to do two brushes. I'm warning you right now because I know what I'm going to do. This is going to apply and it's going to be wet, and I'm going to need to come in with this brush really fast. So I'm going to do a double brush approach. My primary brush here. So anywhere that I've got this purple or this blue touching the orange, I don't like that. And right on the edges of it. While it's still wet, my dry circular brush with pretty much in the blue, and just smudging the edges. Just like that. Tap, tap, tap. Smudge. Just like that. Tap, 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 tap. Smudge it. I think this is the basic premise for how we apply mascara or eyeliner, eyeshadow. One of those eye makeup things. I smudge all of it, so it doesn't really matter. So anywhere there's a color that didn't blur too or didn't blend too well, I can just lightly tap this in right on the edges. Just like that. And then the orange kind of comes from behind. And these end up being more like shadows. So as we get lower, it's not as fluffy and things are a little bit more finite. And that's where I was going in with these and marking it. That's where I want to put my purple. Now you can see why we put it in the water. And if this is not wet enough, you can kind of go in like that. And anywhere there is, just to blend this in, if it looks like it doesn't belong, I'm just going to kind of put in some streaks here. Make it look like it's meant to be that way. I'm going to tap in a little bit more here. There we go. And a little bit here. Kind of a eraser of sorts. There we go. Lovely. Okay. So that's good for the skyline. Now we're just going to go in with really, actually I think what I'm going to do is add a little bit of a streak of this dark blue in here. Just like that. So I really dry and just kind of tapped it. There we go. I sure love these brushes. The Grumbacher brushes are really nice. Just like that. Since I got that one side a little bit dark, I'm going to try and get that too. And we're going to have to blend that out a little bit here. So let's grab a smaller little round brush here. Fear not, easily repaired. We're going to change up our blue a little bit here. And stretch it across a little bit. And since we got it on both sides, I can kind of play with that a little. And again, just stretching that across. It's a little tricky when you have to take care of that when the water starts drying the paper and it starts to curve. It can be a little tricky, but I like that. That's pretty. I'm just going to kind of bring that down here. And if I need to steal some of that color, I can. Just to blend it in. Lovely. Lovely. Okay. Last thing we're going to do. I lied. A couple more things we're going to do. I'm going to take a little brush here. And I'm just going to kind of work in this area and grab a towel. I'm buffing in this little layer here of yellow and orange just to kind of give a little bit of a buffer. Adds a little detail too. So anywhere that I need to add a little bit more orange or there you go. These little things that I add in just a little bit like here and there really can add so much detail and character in it. So taking that few extra minutes just to add a couple little more details I've learned over the years has huge payoff. So I'm just going to rinse that brush out a little bit and kind of where I've been in there. Spread it around a little bit. Let that reflection carry over into the water. And some of that. Uh-oh. Be careful. My favorite thing to do. Add yellow after blue. It makes green. So we fix that with orange. Perfect. Okay. All right. Lift out some of that. Just like that. Okay, let's add in our oh, I don't want that brush. We're going to do a slanted brush like this. Okay. We're just going to go ahead and do our all right, so let's go ahead and go right here. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of use this dry brush here and just kind of scratch it down a little bit. I can also do it like this. I could also use the top and just kind of go like this, or the corner. These are the trees. I'd like to do them first and then I can go in and do my leveling, and so then that way I know exactly where I want everything to be. These trees. And there we go. Coming over here. Let's get these ones. A little bit here. Dab it a little bit more. Just get a little striking black. A little bit more here. Okay. So now decide where those mountains are going to be. Make sure I've got a good amount of water on here. And I ran out of water. There we go. I've been able to try a new stool, since I used to use an ergonomic painting stool that I would sit on with my knees. And now that has been a little bit more challenging. So along the way, I've been trying different stools, and I found one that's a wobble stool that doesn't compress the back of my thigh because I have nerve damage in my thigh. So this has been actually quite comfortable out of the last year of different methods of trying to paint. So what I'm doing with this brush here is I'm reversing that, and now I've got a little bit of a shadow that's playing along in the lake or the river, or whatever you want to call it. It can be whatever you want. And I'm going to take, I hope this isn't too wet, my flat brush here, just a little bit of water on there, and just kind of let it, there we go. And then one final thing I'm going to do is with a liner brush, I'm going to take a little bit of Chinese white and hopefully a steady hand and make sure it's somewhat dry. Okay. Okay. And coming in with my shoreline a little bit here, taking off that excess. I just want a little hint of something beautiful. I think it's done. All right, last thing. I'm just adding a little bit of this Chinese white in some places in here, especially where I messed up right in there. Cover that up. And just adding a little bit of highlights in there. Little peaks. The water kind of brushes up against stuff. Just like that. A couple more here. Like I said, giving that little extra touch to a painting sometimes can make all the difference in the world. To me, anyway. All right, right here. Streaks of light. If it jumbles up too much, you can come in with a thicker brush and just kind of smooth it out. Again, the forgiveness of watercolors. All right, I think I'm ready to sign. Just making sure everything's all okay. Just gonna soften that up a little bit right in here. I think where those colors are in, I want to mix on just a little bit more. All right, good deal. Let's sign it. All right, and where's my signing brush? There it is, labeled and everything. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy painting. As the world is transitioning right now due to a virus, we can find ways to occupy our time and help each other out. This is one way. Don't forget, are still beautiful skylines that we can look out at in the world. And there's still a beautiful humanity. So let's hang on to that. And of course, a special thanks to Dan Catherine for taking the picture. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.